What's up, YouTube? Corey here with your daily dose of wisdom for the day. Going to be talking about spiritual awakening, how that unfolded for me, what made me realize the world isn't quite as it seems. It goes a whole lot deeper, and so do you. So essentially, this whole process started about my sophomore year of college. Going into sophomore year, COVID happened, and I started seeing a lot of conspiracy theories and seeing that the government was hiding something from us. They didn't want us to accumulate this knowledge that may put them at risk of losing power and giving us power, right? When we turn our attention inwards, we give ourselves power. When people focus on themselves, they ultimately give themselves power. That's what spiritual awakening is. It's self-empowerment. So essentially I started getting into these spiritual conspiracy theories, and these spiritual ideas eventually started to unfold. I realized, hey, like, I had been meditating for quite some time where I would take a nap and I would lay down and listen to music and just close my eyes and just disassociate from the world, which is a form of meditation in itself. I realized I'd been doing that. I realized that I had been practicing lucid dreaming for quite some time without even fully embodying and knowing what it was. So I realized this, and I started to really put my attention and awareness in them. I started watching a lot of videos pertaining to the third density and dimension and how we're shifting consciousness, awakening the humanity to their own divinity, right? Aaron Dowdy, who played a major role for me, and realizing that. And I watched some of his videos, like the 3D to 5D Earth switch, and it just clicked in my head, like, holy shit, like, this is exactly what I've been looking for. And yeah, so it flipped a switch in my head, and it really ultimately made me pursue knowledge at all times. Like, I started just listening to lectures and podcasts, reading books, watching YouTube videos, just information overload, just all the time of just trying to gain as much knowledge as possible. So that really helped me in realizing as much as I could about this world, like just overloading my brain with information, which was a lot of information. And it was overwhelming at times, a lot, because I would get to a point where it's like, oh my God, I have so much in my head right now. I'm reading 1984, learning about the dimensions, reading The Law of One, reading all these different books, Power versus Force, A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, all these different spiritual books, all these different conspiracy theories too that I'm looking into, and the government's creating consciousness-based technology, the government's doing this, oh, this Rothschild family is doing this, these families in power don't want you realizing this and that, right? So I'm starting to realize that there's an illusion that we've been fed through the media, through our food, through pharmaceuticals, right? There's this grand conspiracy to lower your consciousness, whether it be through media, food, drugs, everything. Everything is essentially keeping you distracted. And when I say distracted, I don't mean distracted in the way you may think I mean distracted. I mean distracted from yourself, right? And that's a major part of spiritual awakening, is cultivating a loving relationship with yourself and realizing your true power, divinity, connection to this divine consciousness, this supreme reality. So when you're consuming media, social media specifically, in this fast-paced content, I realized my mind was just all over the place all the time. Like, I'm looking at UFC fights, I'm looking at memes, I'm looking at these crazy videos of people getting hurt, skiing, surfing, whatever it is. It's just quick hits of dopamine. That's it. We're all looking for a little high, and that's what social media does. It delivers that quick high. And that's what pharmaceuticals and drugs do. They deliver that quick high. That's what food does in these crappy foods that we're given, and all of this processed garbage is just giving us quick hits of dopamine, right? It's not fuel. We're not fueling ourselves. How do we fuel ourselves to develop spiritually, to develop ourself, to develop successfully in a career, right? And it's not just about spiritual development, it's about developing in a career, because we still have this financial matrix that we have to get out of. So we can use this knowledge, this manifestation techniques, to get out of this financial matrix, to ultimately create this dream life for ourselves, right? Because whatever you can dream of, you can achieve it. That's how it works. right? We can apply these techniques, belief, faith. That's all it takes is belief and faith in yourself, in the idea, in one idea. You need one idea, $1 million idea. That's all it takes. So when you start to spiritually awaken, your creativity is heightened at all times as well. Your awareness, creativity, imagination. So you start to see the world differently. You start to see through people. You start to, when I say see through people, not as if they're transparent, but you can see their intentions. You have a sort of intuitive sense, a sixth sense, right? As your pineal gland opens, you develop this sixth sense of intuition, clairvoyance, where you can essentially see people's true intentions and notice their subtle bodily movements. You notice the tone of their voice. You notice where their eyes are going. And you can sort of, even if somebody has a smile on their face, you may see, oh, that person is quite upset and unhappy where they are right now. That's one thing that starts to happen, right? And this can be scary at times because you start to take on that energy from people. So who you're surrounding yourself with is who you're going to take on energy from. So when you surround yourself with high vibrational people, you're going to take on that energy. Think about monks all hanging out together, or people that are all devoted to one guru, all these people with the same goal in mind, all sharing ideas, communicating with one another, and that high vibrational environment. You're not being plagued by people who hate their job, who don't even want to wake up in the morning, who are depressed and anxious all the time, right? Those things feed off to you because ultimately everything is a vibration. That's the next thing in spiritual awakening that I truly realized. And Nikola Tesla played a huge role in teaching me that inadvertently, I guess advertently, but inadvertently, where I discovered a lot of his work and how it pertains to spirituality, right? He has the 369 rule and how important that is, numerology. So I started getting into numerology. I started getting into energy, frequency, vibration. What does that mean? This entire universe is energy. And I realized, holy moly, I'm just concentrated light energy. And that was where a switch flipped for me. I'm just concentrated light energy, right? This sun provides light for our world and the other planets in our solar system. That love light from Law of One, which taught me a lot. That's what really opened my mind to all this information, was Law of One, where I realized the oneness in everything, the singularity. We're perceiving duality. It's all a perception. It's all an illusion. This whole incarnation is about coming closer to that one consciousness, to unity. Unity with ourselves, seeing others as ourselves. The world is a manifestation of yourself. So you see the world as you are. And this really helped me see the world with purity, and definitely instrumental. So I would definitely recommend the Law of One, the raw material. Definitely check that out. Aaron Abke has a lot of great content specifically based on that and Christianity. Check it out. But realizing the oneness and everything allows you to see others through the lens of love, right? Love and light are the same thing. Light and love are the same thing. And that's what the Law of One talks about. How we can cultivate love and light at the same time. Increasing your consciousness is ultimately becoming more dense in light, which is why it's the third density, fourth density, fifth density. You're becoming more dense in love, which is the same as light, and by increasing your vibration, bringing more energy within, cultivating self-knowledge, self-intuitive knowledge, wisdom, you begin to raise your vibration, moving up the consciousness scale of the densities. So we're in a third density body, but we can bring love into this body to achieve fourth and fifth dimensional consciousness. Fourth density consciousness being that of love, fifth density consciousness being that of wisdom. So we ultimately can create this life that's where we exist in this dimension, but we're outside of this dimension. It's quite an interesting perspective when you start to really feel that way. When you start to believe that way, that becomes your reality, because belief is the main reason that you're not getting where you want to go, or you will get where you want to go. So if you put full intent, full belief in one idea, in yourself, in other people, you will see that belief reign true, because your mind is capable of so much more than you thought. So when you put full intent and belief behind something, you create that reality. And that was the major driving factor for me, is I put full intent and belief in myself that spiritual awakening was happening for me, and I was going to do everything I could to embody this transformation of consciousness. Now, obviously, the dark night of the soul comes in, and I'll make another video about that. But ultimately, my initial awakening came from texts like The Power of Now. 1984 helped me realize all this narratives in the media and how we're being brainwashed, right? Power versus force. The scales of consciousness, low vibrational consciousness to high vibrational consciousness, these states that we stay in. How do we exist in pure bliss, peace, and love at all times, and rid ourselves of these lower vibrational emotions of hatred, fear, guilt, shame? The next book was The Law of One. The Law of One, the raw material, allowed me to embody oneness consciousness and understand the veil, see the veil, the illusion that I've created for myself through the process of socialization. It's an unlearning process, is spiritual awakening. And then some other books I've read along the journey. I'll make a whole video on the books that I've read. I think that'll be a good idea. I think a lot of people are looking for books to read at all times. I got this one that I've been reading recently. Go check this out. Bhagavad Gita. One of the main texts in Hinduism, discerning Hinduism from Buddhism, all about yoga, karma yoga. I'll make another video on that. I got so many ideas. I'm the idea man. So throw me your ideas in the comments if you want to see anything else. And I will see you guys later in the 5D. Peace.